MCAVOY. Les voy a pedir a todos que empiecen a sacar fotos del lado izquierdo, después en medio, después del lado derecho. ¿Listo? Para poderlo continuar.
Hello.
Entonces, lado derecho, James, can you look over there? So everyone over there can take your picture. Thank you. Todo el mundo del lado izquierdo, aprovechese ahora o nunca. Okay, now in the front, please.
Yeah.
James, could you send a greeting?
Yeah. Send a greeting?
Yeah, please.
I could say hello to everybody in Mexico. Thank you for having us.
And now, right? Ready?
To the left, please.
Can you do some tests?
Yeah.
Thank you.
James. Sí, please, James.
Muchas gracias. James. Con ustedes ahora Daniel RADCLIFFE.
Hello, Daniel.
Daniel, can you look at the right side, please? Left side, sorry, left side. Thank you. So everyone can take your picture over there.
In front of you, please.
Thank you. And then in the middle, please.
Hello to you.
Could you do that again, please?
To the front, please.
Thank you.
Down.
Okay, now.
Daniel, to the side, please. Please.
Daniel.
Daniel, can you do some tests to the side, please?
Daniel, please.
Daniel.
To the
Y ahora les voy a traer a los dos para que pasen.
Daniel, some tests to the side. Daniel. Cristina, nos debes hacer las fotos rápido.
Listo. Ahora sí pueden sacar fotos de los dos juntos.
Santa, please. Santa, please. Here, please.
Please take a few steps to your left.
Okay.
Thank you, that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This side, please.
Guys, you're right. Guys, thank you. Sit down, please.
Guys, can you do two steps more to the side, please?
Can I see the smiles, please, guys?
Daniel.
James. Daniel.
¿Listo, chicos? ¿Cuántas fotos van a sacar?
Calendario.
Could you take like your hands here?
Please.
Yeah, between the both.
Could we what? High five?
Yeah, high
No, I don't
five.
think so.
No?
Alright.
We'll miss it. It'll look rubber.
Okay.
Daniel, to the front, please. This way.
Muchísimas gracias, chicos.
Thanks, guys. Nice to see you.
Chicos, ¿se pueden tomar asiento, por favor? Les pido a nuestros amigos fotógrafos que pueden seguir sacando fotos, pero sin flash. Si fueran tan amables de apagar su flash, se los voy a agradecer. Si gustan tomar asiento, chicos, por favor. Vamos a comenzar con la primera pregunta. Raúl Ortiz Sánchez, de Cine y Más. Raúl. El micrófono.
Por favor. ¿Te paso la maleta?
¿Podemos guardar silencio, por favor, para poder comenzar? Muchachos, por favor, ¿podemos guardar silencio? Listo, Raúl.
Bueno, muchas gracias. Bienvenidos a México, aquí al frente, justamente aquí con ustedes, aquí en México. Muchas gracias.
Espérame.
Oh, one second.
Les pido, muchachos, amigos de la prensa, cuando les con el número para poder Raúl, la relación de
because the movie is amazing. Thank you very much. Buenas preguntas. encanta cuando tú eres primero. Voy a intentar dar una respuesta. Bueno, sí, creo que James y yo tuvimos suerte y nos llevamos muy bien rápidamente. Creo que los dos somos el tipo de actores a los que nos gusta involucrarnos y empezar a hacer algo en vez de simplemente hablar al respecto. Yo aprendo más haciendo que al hablar. Y sí, creo que una vez que uno se prepara y se da cuenta que está en la son más fáciles, más rápido y más divertido. Y en términos, la última parte sobre lo que le agregamos al personaje, creo que sobre todo para mí al menos fue en el guión. Me imagino como volverlo tan real como fuera posible y creo que esto es muy importante. Y me gusta que eso yo también lo hice, sentirnos modernos, ¿no? No como que fuera una película de época, sino como que tuviera un sentido moderno. Creo que Daniel y yo seguimos un enfoque muy similar y ambos queríamos que fuera muy energética, como si los personajes estuvieran sudando sangre, porque están haciendo algo increíble, están haciendo algo extremo. Nuestras actuaciones en ocasiones, no siempre, pero en ocasiones también debían ser extremas. Y cuando trabajamos en Nueva York quedó claro en los primeros 10 minutos que estábamos cortados con la misma tijera y que teníamos una idea similar sobre cómo queríamos abordar nuestro trabajo. No lo sé realmente lo que dijo Daniel.
Max's inspiration and look was the guys that killed the fish. You know, he wanted to be a young man trying to prevent limits of scientific technology and really trying to push through that wall to change the world forever. So Daniel's right. It wasn't modern inspiration. Maybe that's why he did. He went to build and give it a more modern energy.
Pregunta 2, Eduardo Rueda, de Radio Telemex.
Bienvenidos a México. Vemos que en la película hay un gran vínculo de amistad y hermandad y que se transmitió muy bien. ¿Esto los hizo ser más amigos en la vida real?
Yeah, we get on really well. We don't hang out a lot because Daniel's the busiest man in the show business. But we get on really well, and it's so nice to be able to, I don't know, take that relationship on screen as well, because sometimes you have to work with people and it's not even that you don't get on with them, it's just that there's nothing there, it's just that it's all about the work, and then in between takes, they don't want to even have a chat, you know? And it's not that they're bad, there's nothing sort of ill between you, but Dan and I got on really well, and it's just, I think it bleeds onto the screen.
Yeah, and I agree. It makes your job a lot easier when you like the person you're opposite. Just it makes going to work a pleasure every day, you know. And getting to work with James on this film was extraordinary. Actually, getting to watch him every day, and I feel like he, brought me to a better place just because you feel like you raise your game when you're around people that you like and respect as an actor. You want to. You were impressive, I guess.
Same to you.
Siguiente pregunta, Ignacio Aguilar, de Prensa de Escenario.
Hi guys, nice to meet you. Welcome to Mexico City. Congratulations for the Walk of Fame yesterday.
Thanks very much.
Okay, I have two questions. Bueno, la primera pregunta es si conocen de talento mexicano, de directores, si les gustaría trabajar con talento mexicano en un futuro, con algún director mexicano. Y la segunda pregunta es para James. Yo sé que tú bailas y cantas muy bien porque vi un video de Copacabana cantando con Barry Manilow, ¿sí? Y mi pregunta es, y eres muy carismático, mi pregunta es si te gustaría trabajar en un musical como Daniel en un futuro. Thank you.
I think James should absolutely do a musical.
Right now, I think, it's incredible work of talent in Mexican cinema. Apart from the fact that I don't speak Spanish, it would be fantastic working here. So if there's a part out there for a white that doesn't speak any Spanish, I'm in. I went down in a couple.
What's it? But it's
Thanks. And in terms of musicals,
Yes.
I've nearly done like 2 musicals, and then for whatever reason, scheduling conflict or we couldn't get the right sort of personnel and all that kind of stuff is falling through. But I am keen to do this. It's got to be the right thing, it's got to be done in the right way. And yeah, Daniel's done fantastic in the past, so following this, they will.
Siguiente pregunta, José Alfredo Martínez, de Moquillo TV.
Hola, ¿cómo están? Hi there. My question is, any of you, or both of you, sing a contract for other movies in playing this character?
¿Qué quisiste decir?
Yes.
Will you sign a contract for playing this character for other movies?
Oh, right. I'm sorry. No, please don't be silly. Your English is better than my Spanish.
Thank you very much.
Originally, this script ended with a very, very strange ending that was basically saying we were in a different location. It was really setting up a sequel. And I think me and James, when we both read it, had the same reaction. We go, like, let's just make one good film. Let's concentrate on making a good movie first before we get too caught up in any ideas or anything else. And obviously, like, if people love it and they want to make more, then I think we've got to think about it. But also, I think the question in our minds is, what the hell happens next? Other than just them doing the same things all over again.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's more important to see the desires there from the audiences to see more, and then you can choose to find what happens to the characters. But again, yeah, Daniel's right. What's he going to do? Go and do it again? Go and do it bigger, better, worse? I don't know. Or maybe it's a different person. Maybe the story of Frankenstein becomes more about anyone trying to create life. I don't know. But yeah, we won't say anything more.
Siguiente pregunta, Beatriz Rubio, de Flashes MX.
Hi, welcome to Mexico.
Thank you.
I have 2 questions. The first one is for Daniel. Daniel, how was this role since you start with David Copperfield, later Harry Potter, until now, your career? And later for Prince, how was your experience performing the role of Victor Frankenstein?
Yeah, I mean, it's been quite a long time since David Copperfield. So, yeah, I don't know. Was it just a general question about my career as a whole? How I grew up? Oh, right, okay. Well, yeah, I don't know, well, not much, but it looks like. I got very lucky on David Copperfield on those first 2 jobs to, work with amazing people and be on set. And I love being on set and I love working with all those people. And from that age, the sort of main focus of my life just became continuing to do that. And I think I just, I like to think that every job I do teaches me something and I learn something from it, and hopefully I get better and better with each job. Everything you do is a chance to learn and get better.
Sorry, no,
But I love playing Victor Frankenstein. When I got the script, I saw it. It kept me turning the pages, and I got through it really quick, which isn't always the way with script. I find scripts really hard to read, actually. So I saw him as the original mad scientist with like crazy hair and like and all that kind of stuff. And it was all those, for one or a better word, cliches. And I loved that he was kind of going for those cliches. And then just as I was getting tired of those cliches and wanted something more, the script delivered that in a big way. And I saw it as an opportunity to go wild and go crazy with energy and give the kind of performance that I like to see, which is not just about the close-up, but it's also about the physicality, and it's also about the body. And these are men of flesh, these are men that chop up hearts and lungs and arms and sew them all together. And so they should be about their own bodies as well. So I saw it as an opportunity to kind of really go to town on those cameras.
Siguiente pregunta, Alfredo Tobar, de Research. Alicia, sí, cierto. Me pusieron Alfredo, perdón.
You're just
difficult part in this film. And what was the thing that for each one of you made you say, yes, I want to be evil, yes, I want to be evil?
I think the Victorian setting in this film, it's not originally set in the Victorian era in the book, but it's setting it in, particularly in England during the Victorian era, during, more importantly, the Industrial Revolution, where machines and technology were transforming the way that people lived and really sort of accelerated us from a rural-based society to one that was city-based in a matter of decades. Kind of the same time going through a technological revolution now where our lives are being transformed in a matter of years by technology. That was happening then at a rate that's never been seen before. And the people who were making that happen were people like Victor and Igor, people who held the fire of the gods in their hands and were using it to change people's lives irrevocably, and so that it would be unrecognisable from just last year. And I think that's what's set in the Victorian era, particularly in England, does for the film. It gives it that context of adventurers in science, people who don't really know what the implications of their work are going to be, but they're doing it anyway, and they're going to change the face of the planet. And that's how they see themselves, I think.
Yeah, and in terms of what made me want to play Igor in the film was just, it was really entertaining. The script, first and foremost, it made me like, as James said, it really like tears along very quickly, and it's very funny. It's got a sense of humour, which is always important in a film like this. And with the character of Igor, there was obviously a chance to sort of perform this cool story of this guy's journey into becoming a human being on an equal footing with everybody else, which is what he wants to be in the story, or even if he doesn't know that he wants that. And there's a sweetness to him, and there's something incredibly sweet and loyal and honest about him, which I found very charming in a world where kind of everybody has sort of greater motivations. Igor really doesn't have any of those. He just wants to live a life where he feels like he's part of society.
Siguiente pregunta, Mimi Carrillo, circulación.com.
Pregunta es, ¿cómo fue el primer acercamiento que tuvieron de pequeños con Frankenstein? Y si pudieran comentar alguna anécdota divertida.
Probably the first day is the one to talk about. Oh, your first day. Yeah, that's a funny story, isn't it?
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know really. It's the first day on set was the scene where we had to drain the pus out of Daniel's hump, and we came in to rehearse the night before, and I said to the props people, I was saying, I need a tube, a rubber hose, so that I can suck out the pus with my mouth. And they were like, what? And I said, no, it's okay, it'll become clear tomorrow. And I don't think anybody really thought that we were going to do it. But we did it the next day, and you get gas out of the car, and then you put it out and go, shh, but you always get a little bit in your mouth, so you're like, hey, and you stay thinking. And so we did that scene, and it was disgusting, and it was horrible. Which is great, because you're making a movie about Frankenstein, which is essentially a zombie, and so you've got to be kind of gross sometimes. And Daniel obviously tells the story of him walking out of the set and looking at the producer's faces, just being absolutely aghast, to be like, what the hell are these actors doing with a movie that was really good in the script? And so that was kind of like, for me, that was one of the funnest days, because it really felt that we were kind of putting our stamp on the film and saying, this is what the script is, and we know it is, but this is what we're going to do to it. Which is sort of, I know it's kind of a bit brash and a bit sort of, I don't know, weird, but it just felt like I did it, you know.
Siguiente pregunta, Lucille, sin información.
Welcome to Mexico. Congratulations, Daniel, for your star in the Bollywood thing. Congratulations so much. And one of the things that I really like in the movie is a relationship with Igor and Victor. And my question is, James, tell me who is Daniel, and Daniel, tell me who is James.
Oh wow, okay. Daniel Daniel is the hardest working man ever worked with, or women. And that's not just blowing smoke up his arse, that's, which is a great image, isn't it? He's the most professional actor I've ever come across, and I find that terrifying because he's like, what, 10 years younger than me? And that's slightly upsetting to me. But that's the first thing that I noticed about Daniel. That was on day one, when he literally ran past me to get to set, and I remember thinking, maybe there's food on set, or maybe people have got donuts or on location, and he's running to get one. But no, that's what Daniel does, and it's really admirable. And it's not just about, it's about an energised commitment to the work. And as a person outside of work, he's really conscientious, kind, and considerate, and really annoying. So, because he's it's so annoying to hear that, but it's true.
And I'm about to pretty much echo all that, going back the other way, so sorry guys, you're going to be really bored by these answers. But it is true, like everything I've heard about James before working with him, from people that worked with me on film or theatre, was like, oh, we really didn't get on with him, I think we were very similar in terms of how we work. And then we got on set and it was all true. And you know, he's bold and fearless and committed to everything he does as an actor, and also with a huge amount of fun to be around between takes. And yeah, I mean, it's a pleasure to make a film. And I also grew up because when I was on Potter and I was working with Maggie Smith and you know, Rich Harris and all those guys, I was aware that they were very famous, respected actors, but I hadn't grown up watching a lot of their films, whereas I had grown up seeing James in a lot of stuff and really, I don't know. So I think for the first 2 weeks or so, I had to slightly work on just being able to not be a fan or be a bit in awe and just being no, we're working together now. You can just we're on a level playing field and trying to put that in. But that was probably helpful for the relationship with Igor as well. But yes, no, it was a total pleasure, and one I hope we get to do again.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Siguiente pregunta, Alberto Barajas, en la revista.net.
Good mic check.
Check. Actualmente, en pleno 2015, ¿qué podría aportar a la medicina y a la ciencia Víctor Frankenstein y Igor?
I missed that question.
What could Victor contribute to medicine and science in 2015?
Well, there was a scene in the film where they've cut out the film, which I loved that scene, where we actually bring a dead baby back to life. And by using techniques that are kind of used today in neonatal units all over the world with kangaroo care and all that kind of stuff. That was kind of amazing. But then, you know, we already have that technology, so Victor would be behind. What would he do with it? Well, he'd be able to reanimate flesh. He'd be able to bring us all back from the dead. And yeah, we'd all be 6'10" and have flat heads and try and kill people for no good reason. But we'd still be alive. And that really is a miracle.
And Igor, I think, would just be sort of tagging along like he's in the film, and you know, being very good with his hands and fantastic surgeon. He also might have gone into tailoring. He's very good with stitching and cloth, so you know, that's maybe an alternative career there.
I feel like Victor, if they were in a hospital with all the facilities that the world of science offers them, I feel like Igor would be doing great work and really sort of making steps forward in how we do surgery and actually be medically useful. Whereas Victor would be just how do we turn a man into a bomb? How do we get someone's leg to attach to their face so they can just hop around on the face? Weird stuff.
Yeah. Weird but vital.
Yeah, okay.
Siguiente pregunta, William Collin, Televisa.
Hi guys. For Daniel, since there is no reference about Igor in the book, so how hard and what was your training to play that character in the movie? For James, there was a strong relationship between Igor and Victor. How can you describe the feelings that Victor has
yeah, I mean, I think for Igor, obviously as you say, it's not in the book. I didn't, the only incarnation of Igor that I had seen previously was Marty Feldman in Young Frankenstein. So I wasn't going to try and compete with that. And in a way, I think it took a lot of the pressure off it, in a sense, like I wasn't like fanatically familiar with every film that's ever been made, because I was free to kind of give it my own interpretation, and I was aware that this was a take on Igor that we've not really seen before, so it seemed like that kind of seemed like permission to do whatever the hell we like. And I worked on it with a lady called Catherine Hunter, who's a very amazing physical actress, so I sort of worked with her for a few sections on getting Igor's physicality right.
And yeah, I think Victor's relationship with Igor, from Victor's point of view, is all basically, to begin with anyway, based on what he thinks he can get from him. And the way that Victor sees the world is just full of commodities or obstacles that will either help him or hinder him from getting what he wants and what he wants to do, which is to become the creator of life. He kind of essentially wants to become God. So he sees Igor as a tool that he can use and at times horribly abuse, I think. But you can't spend that much time with somebody and rely that much on somebody without letting him in, and without developing respect or love or affection for them. And what ends up happening to Victor is that he ultimately, against his wishes really, makes the only friend, his best friend and only friend that he's ever really had. And the closest thing he's got to somebody that he shares true love with.
Siguiente pregunta, Laura Ángeles, entera por online. Video. ¿De este lado? Ok. Laura Ángeles, todo conmigo.
Dos preguntas también. La primera, ¿cuál fue el reto para ustedes al interpretar sus dos papeles en esta película? Y si pudieran compartirnos algún sueño profesional que aún tienen y que aún nos falta por cumplir.
I really love starring in the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Well, I really want to direct at some point, and I would like to write and direct. So that's definitely a dream still. And in terms of the challenge, I suppose it was like, you know, these are very heightened situations, and you know, this is stuff that doesn't and can't really happen. So you're in this like fantastical world, and I think the challenge in that is always making it feel as real and as close to the world we live in as we can.
For me, the challenge of playing Victor was really to fully express and live in his sort of manic, hyperactive state, but at the same time not push the audience away too much with behaviour that is so alien that they can't relate to it. So try and go for that in the extreme, but still let the audience in and have moments of pathos and compassion where the audience can really understand him as somebody like them, and then kick him in the teeth and go and do something crazy again, you know.
Siguiente pregunta, Valeria Contreras, Conferencia.com.
Hola chicos.
Hello.
La primera pregunta, en la película Igor dice que Víctor le cambia la vida. ¿Cuál es la persona que les ha cambiado a ustedes la vida y para James? ¿De algún modo crees que te inspiraste en el papel de ser humana para interpretar a Víctor Frankenstein?
I mean, I suppose, you know, my parents, and a guy called Will, who I met on the first Harry Potter film, who was like my best friend for 10 years and still is, and I feel like he's definitely somebody that shaped the person that I am, for better or worse.
And I've never actually seen a Frankenstein film, and I've got images of Kenneth Branagh in my head with big, long, kind of blonde hair maybe and a beard, and being naked on top of a vat, and oiled, and looking well fit. And I've got that in my head, but I've never actually watched anybody else's Frankenstein performance. I didn't even see the play with Ray Cumberbatch and Jonathan Miller. So yeah, I felt kind of free. I'd read the book before I got the part, and then after I got the part, I read the book again. But even then, I felt like the script was doing something quite different from the book in terms of who Victor was. Definitely took a lot of its sort of inspirations from the book in terms of obsession and mania and a sort of unhealthy, mentally ill approach to science. But it kept him that way. It doesn't cure him halfway through the story and suddenly have a very sane, balanced man that we can relate to easily fighting the monster. It's got a crazy person all the way to the end, which I really liked. So yeah, I didn't really feel like I was in the shadow of anybody. It just felt like I was quite free to do whatever the hell I liked, which is cool.
Siguiente, Lourdes Rodríguez, de Barrio Capital.
Hola, muy buenas noches. Felicidades amigos. Por mi parte me interesaría saber sobre los monstruos. ¿Qué monstruo es el que más les llama la atención? Y en cuanto al papel que caracterizaron, ¿qué es lo que les llamó la atención? ¿Qué es lo que los motivó? Lo que los apasionó y admiró de cada uno de ustedes.
In terms of the monsters, I loved Gordon, the first monster we make, which is sort of a prototype monster. Yeah, it was one of the coolest creatures that I've ever been around. It was sort of part chimpanzee and part cheetah, and I think maybe some like deer and maybe stuff like that. Yeah, so there was something, and it was also like a lot of it was really done with puppetry, so it wasn't all visual effects later, so we had something to interact with there. So yeah, I loved it. That was my favourite design.
And I spent a long time thinking about the monster, Prometheus, and about how he really is meant to be the personification of a dead relative of Victor's. And so trying to visualise him in a way that wasn't the monster at the end, in a way that was somebody that he knew and loved and cared about, so that when I do finally look at the monster's face and he's alive, I can not recognise him, you know? So I took a lot of inspiration from the big guy.
Siguiente pregunta, Jaime Rosales, de Filmeweb.
Buenos días. ¿Cuáles dirían ustedes que son los valores de esta cinta, de esta historia como película y en cuanto al mensaje que maneja?
To me, it's about letting people in and friendship, ultimately. I know there's many other themes in it that are more along Frankenstein's sort of traditions, but I feel like the ultimate lesson, if there is one, is the fact that Victor has been isolated his entire life and, sort of self-imposed. And then at the end of the movie, the only reason that there is somebody, Igor, that there is somebody who can save him is because Igor is the only person who has been allowed to see how special Victor is. Victor has opened up to him. And so Igor can see that, yes, he's kind of crazy, but he's also very kind, generous, and exciting, and very intelligent. And so Igor knows that there's something worth saving, and that he wants to save about him. And if Victor had never let him in and become friends with him, then he'd be left on his own, really.
I suppose I know what the message of the film is, but I don't really like spelling that out for people. But I'd say what the discussion of the film is right. Which is evil. Bye-bye. No, it's okay. We're really well and voting together. The film is much more interesting than what we're saying. She's like, I'm still out of here. So the discussion of the film is, for me, one of the discussions of the film anyway, is should man, can man, will man become the creator? And just because we can do something scientifically doesn't mean we should. I know what I stand on that, but I feel that people are forever coming up against obstacles when they're trying to push back boundaries, and particularly in science. And the one kind of paradigm that I always seem to sort of be attracted to is stem cell research, where 5 or 10 years ago you couldn't get stem cell research done. It was terrible. It was a taboo. You were a pariah if you were trying to get it done. But now we just do it. And it's not like there's been some big, huge festival where everybody got together and went, do you know what, we've changed our minds. It just happened. And that's what happens with science, I think. People come up against haters, and people that are very afraid and scared. And then suddenly, everybody's fine with it. And that's what seems to happen in this as well. Everybody's scared of what Victor's trying to do. Don't get me wrong, they should be. But the idea of what he's trying to do is noble, I think.
Siguiente pregunta, Raúl Soriano, la cartelera MX.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Buenos días, antes que nada, bienvenidos a México. Yo quisiera hacer dos preguntas. Daniel, antes que nada, felicidades por la estrella que tienes en Hollywood y que tanto se ha dado aquí en esta conferencia. A partir de este momento, ¿qué significado tiene para ti esta estrella también? Porque haces ahorita una película que realmente puede empezar a seguir catapultándote artísticamente y que se dejó a un lado ese problema que tienen muchos actores, ¿no? Ser encasillados por determinado personaje y que no ha pasado contigo. ¿Qué satisfacción te da? Y qué es lo que prosigue al futuro después de esta producción?
Absolutely, you know, I feel very lucky that people have given me opportunities to do other stuff and allowed me to play more roles than just Harry, which is fantastic. The star, essentially, to me means that, like, no matter how badly things go from here, I've always had that. So there's some comfort and security in that. But no, I'm very excited about the future. You know, I'm in a position which very few actors, particularly actors of my age, are, where you have a lot of say over what you want to do, a lot of control in your career, and you don't have to do something unless you love it and are excited by it. So, you know, I'm very excited about just continuing, hopefully, on that path and making more weird, cool movies like this one.
Siguiente pregunta, Francisco López, inextremo.net.
James, estás interpretando a un científico con una visión muy distinta del mundo.
¿Te puedes quedar el micrófono,
¿Sí?
por favor?
¿Así está bien? Para James, interpretas a un científico que tiene una visión muy distinta del mundo. ¿Encuentras alguna relación con lo que hiciste en X-Men, el personaje?
They both look like me. Very similar, actually. Yeah, they are. I think that in lots of ways, especially from Days of Future Past and Charles in that particular film, there's a sort of mental imbalance to Charles that is also clearly evident and massively evident in Victor. Where they are similar is that I think they both hold so much dangerous information. They're both in charge of something that is potentially explosive, and that they live with that pressure every single day of their lives. And whereas Charles is more, where they deviate and where they're different, is that Charles is a responsible man who sees that as a heavy burden, whereas Victor relishes it and sees it as like a firework display. You can't wait for, you know, fireworks night where you can go crazy and make all nice colours in the sky. That's poetic. They are similar in lots of ways, but very, very different in lots of ways. If Victor's like the evil twin brother of somebody like Charles, do you know what I mean? He's like Charles on a really bad day. Which I do actually think there is a comic book version of like an evil version of Charles, which I would love to play.
Siguiente pregunta, Marta Violante, sin premiar.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Bienvenidos a México, para James. Me gustaría, en muchas historias de Frankenstein, el científico llega a arrepentirse de lo que crea. En esta ocasión, Víctor permanece bastante loquito hasta el final de la película. ¿Qué puedes decir acerca de eso?
Could you say that again?
En muchas encarnaciones de la historia de Frankenstein, el científico permanece, llega un momento en que se arrepiente de lo que hace. En esta ocasión, no es así. Víctor permanece un poquito loco en la película. ¿Qué puedes decirnos de eso? Y tengo otra pregunta. What's up with your hairstyles?
I'm really pleased that he's crazy to the end. In the book, it's not that he suddenly regrets what he's done, the book, he creates the monster, and then the monster dies, and then he goes on vacation for a year, and takes it easy, does yoga, and then he comes back, and he's like, whoa, what do you mean? The monster's alive? Oh, better go kill it. And he's like a hero then. He's like a normal man, and he's a hero, with regret and all that. What I really liked about the movie is that it didn't let the audience off the hook in terms of how they relate to a character who is so extreme. It didn't make it easy for them to suddenly go like, you know, phew, he's nice now. So by keeping him crazy all the way to the end, I felt it was actually much truer of who the man was. And I think the moment of regret, it's not so much a moment of regret, it's a moment of massive disappointment. And that he thought he was creating, he thought he was creating a new being with a new soul, and in some way, sort of addressing the balance of a dead person that he feels responsible for. And so, yeah, I think that moment of regret or disappointment does come, but it's right at the end. And it's not like he's suddenly sane then. I think he walks off at the end of the movie, he's still a mental case, and still a nutter. And I hope he goes on to do some crazy nice things.
Siguiente pregunta, Elena Martínez, Text Magazine.
Hola chicos. Acá. Hola. Tengo dos preguntas. La primera es, en otras versiones de Frankenstein, a Igor no se le da la fuerza que se le da en esta película. ¿Qué opinan ustedes de esto? Y descríbanos cuál fue la escena más difícil para cada uno de realizar, por favor.
I think, yeah, I think for this to be, a kind of an entertaining story about two guys and their relationship, Igor needs to have more strength than he has had in the past, because otherwise Victor's just going to walk all over him. I mean, it's not to say that he has that strength easily or quickly either. It's something that I think the story of Igor in the movie is about him trying to gain that strength and trying to gain enough strength to say no to this guy and actually stand up for what he knows is right. And I've forgotten the other part of the question.
What's the most challenging scene for both of us?
Probably actually the castle scene at the end, the big 3-week, because we filmed it, filmed the castle sequence for 3 weeks in the rain and cold. It was one of those scenes where you're like, it was fun and we knew we were getting really good stuff, but at the same time, you kind of get to the end of that 3-week period and you're like, okay, I'm good to have a couple of days off now, I'm happy about that.
Yeah, definitely that scene. But the payoff of doing it that way is that, I think you can see the actors struggling and the actors being truly freezing and shivering and scared. So that's the thing that the audience get out of it. So we were able to look around us and kind of go like, this is worth it, but it was really, really hard because it was real rain and fake rain and minus freezing temperatures and like a long time. But, it's worth it in the end.
Siguiente pregunta, Julieta Navarrete, Cashmere Magazine.
You've made quite a few book-to-film adaptations right now. Which literary character would you like to perform in the future, and why?
There's in a book called The Master and Margarita. There's a 5-foot-tall black cat that has a gun and drinks vodka and is very, very entertaining. And I would like to play him in a kind of like, I don't know, I'm picturing some sort of Andy Serkis smoke app shoot. That's my ideal fiction role.
I think, I don't know really. A lot of my favourites have already been done.
Has it been done well?
I think I would play anybody in his Dark Materials trilogy, which are three of my favourite books still, even though they're meant to be for young kids or young adults. I think they're just incredible books. Kind of with a similar sort of topic of conversation as Victor Frankenstein. Man replacing the Godhead, man replacing religion, man taking responsibility for their own existence. Which I think is so amazing. So anything from there would do me fun.
Humberto Montoya del Universal.
Hey guys.
I wanted to know what is
true. But I want to know what's the key moment that you will find out that, you know, we're friends. This is not just professional. We can laugh at each other.
I don't know, is there a moment, like, is there one specific moment that you like, that in our lives, I think, that we like, hey, we're getting on, I don't know, oh, this can work.
That was the moment I knew we'd be together for a
Not particularly in terms of a specific moment, it's just like you have a connection, like, just like there is with, you know, when you meet people in the room, I'm sure you know, there wasn't a moment you could point to as being like the one moment that we knew we liked each other, it's just, you just get on, you don't.
And have you ever met anyone that happened with? You went, that was a moment.
I don't think so. Not I can remember. Maybe I'm just living a really boring life to meet kids.
Yeah. Oh, we're just not very observant. Like, the moments keep happening.
Probably if you ask our significant others, they'd be like, are you kidding me? You don't remember the moment? And I think one of my favourite films from James's catalogue is The Last King of Scotland. But I was recently reminded by you of another film, which you were talking about another title of, but Inside of Dancing, which I saw and like just cried and like loved, and yeah, when I was like, I don't know, I was young, I remember seeing it in the cinema, and yeah, so that's, but Last King of Scotland is still number one.
There's a lot of the Harry Potter films I love, but the film that I've seen most recently that I love of his is Horns. By the way, I bumped into Juno the other day. Oh, cool. In New York, anyway, she sent her love. Yeah, it's also nice. See Horns, it's just a crazy, it's just such an unexpected film. I think he's brilliant.
Última pregunta, Elsa Gutiérrez, Ciudad de México.
Mi pregunta es, ¿se parecen en algo a sus personajes? Y si sí, ¿cuál es esa afinidad que ustedes tienen con Igor y con Víctor?
Yeah, I think I am similar in terms of he's very curious and, you know, knowledge for knowledge's sake is a very noble pursuit in his head, I think. And I think I'm, you know, I've got a lot of that loyalty and those sort of nice qualities, but I'm not quite such a, you know, I haven't led a horribly abused existence, so I'm not less damaged than he is.
I think I can get a bit manic sometimes, not manic clinically, but I think I can get a bit hyped up sometimes. But other than that, I think I don't share too much with Victor, thankfully, for my family and for my friends. I don't really think I'm a god much of the time, and so that's yeah, I think I'm quite different in that way.
Muchísimas gracias por venir, chicos.
Fotos.
Y nos vemos en la premiere. Muchísimas gracias.
Daniel, James, can we do a couple of photos, please? Picture. Hey, Daniel. No, que siempre no.